Hey, this is Sasha, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Stocks, where I share with you some trading insights, investing insights, and just giving you another perspective. Now, today, what we're going to do is take a look at a concept that's from my new and upcoming book, which should be released here towards the end of the year, called Mindsets of a Mastered Trader. And the concept is to always give the opposite look to what you're seeing and viewing. So what I want you to do, and the key thing to remember from this lesson, is to always give it the opposite of what you're seeing. Because see, what happens in life as we look at things and as we're evaluating something, we're always looking at this one thing from our view, from our perspective. This is us, right? We always see things from our perspective and our view. We don't have eyes in the back of our heads, so we can't really see the contrary or the opposite or the contrarian view. And when you look at something in, let's just say this is a positive way, I want you to start looking at things, well, what's also the negative way? And I know this might seem a little contrary to what all these self-help books tell you and teach you and say, hey, always look at things from the positive view and always look at things from the good view. But the thing is when you're looking at things from both perspectives, now you're seeing things much more clearly, okay? And especially as you get into investing, trading, looking at stock trades. Because here's what really happens is that when you look at things from a positive and a negative view, let's just break down this concept of, okay, well, if I say having a big truck is really a bad thing, it's really negative, it's not good, because hey, you're wasting fuel, you're hurting the environment, that's not a good thing. But what if you gotta have that big truck because you're a plumber and you need it to store your items and then use it to get to work? Well, now that could be the positive view, and I'm giving it the opposite of what my normal view was. So look at it from this way. What is the opposite of what I'm normally seeing or looking at? Or how about, let's take another example. Well, in America, there's a lot of gun debates and abortion debates. So, okay, what's the positive? What's the negative? Right? So always look at giving it the opposite of what you think. And you probably stand in one area or another when it comes to the gun debate, the abortion debate. You're probably not leaning in one way or another, but give it the opposite view so that way you can say, okay, well, now I'm giving it a fair view, a fair opinion, and looking at it from the opposite side. Take, again, another example, more economic. Let's say, hey, you're out of work, okay? And if you're out of work, well, people might say, hey, that's really bad. That's not good. But on the contrary, let's say, hey, I'm out of work because I'm looking to spend time with my kids. I want to make sure I'm the best parent that I can be because I want to spend the most time with my kids, evolve and develop my family, grow them, educate them, and just be in their lives. Well, hey, economically, you might say, hey, that was the negative. But now, seeing the bigger picture and bigger perspective, that's the positive. So that's what I want you to start doing, is that anytime you have one view, if it's positive, give it the negative view. And if it's negative, give it the positive view. So that way you can see things from multiple perspectives. I know that, hey, if we say, look at things from multiple perspectives, it's very easy to say those things, but difficult to do. But on the side of positive and negative, usually we're either positive on one side or either for something or against something. So now, in terms of this way, if you look at it in that context, see what you can do to do the opposite of where your opinion or view lies. Now, how does this really apply in the stock market or the stock world? Well, let's look at it this way. Let's say, hey, you got a stock, and we'll take a look at Amazon. And Amazon just keeps climbing, and let's just say it's a stock that just keeps heading higher and moving and not really doing a lot of pullbacks. Well, what's the positive and what's the negative? Well, if you got a stock that continues to run to the upside, exploding to the moon, hey, that's good news. And if you're an investor, that's great. But the negative approach on that, well, it's run so far that you could have a major, major pullback in any single day. And that could be catastrophic and very dangerous. Okay, so maybe that's one example. On another case, let's just say you have another company that just continues to sell off. You could even talk about this in terms of the market, such as the recent volatility that we have. If you have a market that just continues to move lower and then maybe it bounces and moves lower, you might say, hey, that's really bad. You know, a lot of people are losing money economically. That's not good. But what's the opposite view of this, right? So initially, this could be negative. Many people don't want a bearish market. But what's the positive in it? What's the positive behind major sell-offs? Well, now you could get things at better value, right? You could buy things at lower prices. And the other good news is that prices now come back sooner. So let's just say, hey, this happened when you're 30 years old. Well, now you have time to go ahead and buy more stocks so that eventually things go higher. If this happened when you were 50 years old or 60 years old, well, now that could be a little bit more troublesome. So, hey, sooner rather than later, right? So always look at, hey, if I'm looking at it from a negative, what's the positive? If I'm looking at it from the positive, well, what's the negative, right? So, because in the market, you can get caught on both sides that thinking this stock is so good, it'll keep running up. Well, what's the negative? What could happen? Because that's what you're always planning for in the marketplace is that, well, what if it goes against me? And if you can answer those things and look at it from the opposite side, it'll put you in a better spot, in a better position. And that's the right way of thinking about it, giving it the opposite view so that way you can see things from multiple perspectives. All right, so thank you so much for joining me in this week's lesson and episode, and I hope you found it helpful to opening up your mind. And if you want to get notified when my new book is released, get on the newsletter list so that way you know when it's released. You might even get a discount or a promotion, or at least get the early access to when it gets launched. Thanks for joining me, and remember, do what you love, contribute to others, but most importantly, live life abundantly. I'll see you in the next video.